What's it looking like?
Yeah, we're working on it. Yeah, we're working on it. Video's not going.
Okay.
So we're working on that.
Okay.
We don't know if there's audio. So let's
Well, I'm
find out.
gonna keep chatting. I'm gonna actually give the news update today. You may or may not be able to hear this, but the news update for today is the fact that we had an earthquake last night. I think last night or this morning. I don't know. I slept through it. I found out this morning. Both Levi and Noah slept through it as well, which means we sleep really well. So that's a neat piece of information. Also, another quick Montana update for you. This last weekend was the 4th of July. My dogs are scared to death of fireworks. So we went ahead and took an epic hike. I'm talking like a major hike. In fact, I'm probably going to post pictures on the forum because what we did is Whitney and I and the dogs started out at about 9 a.m. And from basically about 19 or so miles outside of Bozeman, we proceeded to hike 8 miles up a mountain and then 8 miles back for a total of 16 miles. The dogs were totally wiped out. I got slightly sunburnt, but it was totally worth it because the views were absolutely amazing. And speaking of amazing views, I also want to give a shout out to everybody that attended the second annual Tony's Acoustic Challenge Jamboree in Big Sky. It was 2 weekends ago. I guess it was that 2 weekends ago at this point?
Yes, it was.
2 weekends ago. It seems like just yesterday. And also very far away at the same time. And I just want to give a shout out to those of you who came out and attended. It was an absolute blast. And of course, I'll dig into more details on that as we go through the live broadcast. But I have an absolute ton of information in store for you guys today. I want to talk about jam etiquette. And that's the workshop I'll kick today's live hangout off with because it's so important to, when you're going into a jam, to approach it with the quote-unquote unwritten rules in mind. And these aren't hard and fast rules, but I just want to give you some guidelines so that when you go to a jam, you can kind of ease into it and feel comfortable, feel like you're kind of in the know already. It's almost like going to that one weird restaurant that you're scared to go to alone, but as long as you go with a buddy that's been there before, things are okay. So I'm gonna be your buddy that's been there before, and I'll kind of show you the unwritten rules today. That's what we'll kick off today with, and then I have some really exciting announcements, some developments in the course end of the Tony's Acoustic Challenge website, and also a brand new feature that I am so pumped to share with you guys. This was a caffeinated brainstorming session with Levi, Noah, and myself last week that led to this, and it's developed rather quickly. So that's coming up. I'll share some more information about that. I have a course announcement I mentioned. Of course, I'm going to be giving away a guitar at the end of today's hangout, which is always exciting because you get a chance to win a Taylor GS Mini, which is a fantastic travel guitar, and now's the time of year that you really need a travel guitar because travel happens in the summer. In fact, tomorrow I'm leaving for Wisconsin, so I'm going to have to get myself a travel guitar. I might take the GS Mini on a road trip before I ship it out. We'll see. I probably won't have enough room. I'll probably just bring my regular size guitar because I don't like to travel without it, just in case an open mic happens or something like that. And then, of course, you guys get to see me throw a dart as well. And by the looks of the recent scorecard here sitting next to me, I've pretty much won every single dart game we've played in the office. Is that accurate, Noah? Levi?
What about playing darts in the office?
Yeah.
And
how I just pretty much destroy.
How Levi and I let you dominate us continually?
Well, see, they say that they let me win, but truth be told, I'm pretty much a sniper when it comes to darts.
You're pretty good.
I say that with way too much confidence because my accuracy wavers, as you'll see when I give away the guitar today. So there's a ton in store today. I want to check back over here with these guys and see if I can start doing the jam etiquette workshop. If I should, what's the status? What are we looking like?
Levi, I think we got the thumbs up. I think we're good. People got audio, video.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think we're good to go, Tony.
Awesome.
I actually didn't realize you were stalling.
I was. I just wanted to make
I didn't
sure.
realize I was on the screen.
Yeah.
We as you guys may have noticed, we are trying something new today. So I was stalling a little bit. I wanted to give you the news update from here. But without further ado, let's dive into the workshop portion of today's program. And that is going to be focused around jam etiquette. And as I said before, these are the unwritten rules. Nobody hands you the rule sheet when you go to a jam. In fact, nobody really ever talks about them. But they're things that I think you should know going into a jam. And as I mentioned before, I kind of drew that parallel between that restaurant that's kind of the weird restaurant in town that if you're new to it, you don't really know how to order, you don't know what you should or shouldn't order. But if you go there with a friend, they kind of pave the way for you and say, hey, this place, they don't do forks. They only do spoons and knives, so don't even ask for a fork. That's kind of what I want to be. I want to be your guide to breaking the ice at a jam session. And a jam session could be anything. It could happen at a bluegrass festival. It could be a bunch of folks getting together and gathering at somebody's house. But either way, whatever the classification of jam that it is, these are some rules that you should keep in mind. Rules, or rather suggestions. So there's 5 of them. Wait, there's 6 of them. I added one at the last minute. So six rules of a jam session. The first things first, make sure to tune up. This is really, really extremely important because you don't want to be the one person that's kind of not in tune. It could really, it's almost like it sheds a cloud on the whole entire jam. And it's really easy. This is one of the easiest things to get right out of the way. You can get a clip-on tuner. Snark makes them. Polytune actually makes a really killer clip-on tuner that I love. The Polytune Polyclip. It's got a nice sturdy metal clip. But there's a plethora of options out there. Make sure to bring your tuner and make sure to tune before starting a song. And if you find out during the song that you're not quite in tune, just slowly turn away and very quietly tune away from the song. And then you can always come back if you're comfortable doing that. But first things first, make sure to be in tune. It's going to make you sound good, it's going to make the group sound good, and it's going to make sure that everybody has a really good time. So tune up. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2. This one is really important because you can get so excited and caught up in the moment of, holy cow, I'm at a jam, I'm playing with friends, this is really rad. You can get so caught up in the excitement that all of a sudden you keep playing louder and louder and louder and louder. And pretty soon you're just wailing on the guitar and it's drowning everybody else out. And we don't do this consciously. Again, this is a result of just being excited. So be aware of your dynamics. That's rule number 2. Be aware of how loud or how quietly you're playing and adjust accordingly. If it's a vocal song and everybody's playing along, make sure to kind of ease up on the gas pedal a little bit and let the vocalist or let the singer be heard. And if it's time for a solo, you can be a little bit louder. But of course, just always keep in mind how loud you are compared to the group. Because you certainly don't want to be it's like going into a room and starting to shout at people. You just want to have a nice conversational voice. So be aware of your dynamics. Rule number 3, take turns. This goes back to the playground back in grade school. You don't want to be the guy or the gal that's swinging on the monkey bars the whole entire recess and not letting anybody else have a trip down the monkey bars or across the monkey bars. Take turns when picking songs. Generally speaking, a jam works in kind of a circle situation where it just goes around. And you pick a song, and then it goes to the next person. They pick a song, so on and so forth. Now, it's totally okay to skip a turn, but make sure to offer up a turn to the next person. Because what can happen is you start to become kind of the jam hog, if you will. If you keep shouting out songs and keep playing songs, it becomes, how many songs do you know versus how many songs we can get the group participating in. So make sure to take turns. And it's okay, as it comes around to your turn, if you're sitting in a jam circle and you just don't know a tune, it's totally okay to say pass. It's totally fine. I've felt that anxiety of where it's all of a sudden becoming my turn, and like my turn's next, and I'm like, I don't even know any more songs. What am I gonna play? It's okay to say, I'm out, guys. I don't know any more songs, and just pass it on to the next person. But be sure to take turns. It's very, very important. In fact, a lot of these rules are equivalent to the playground rules. Tune up would be like, use good language on the playground. Watch your dynamics. That's kind of like use your inside voices. And, of course, take turns, the classic golden rule of childhood friendship. And my fourth rule, this one is one that I think is a little bit scary, but it's okay. And that is ask questions, but do so at the right time. Okay? So let's say you're going through a jam situation and you're trying to play along the song. You just can't quite figure it out. You started it, you thought you had it, but you can't quite figure it. There's some weird chord changes. Don't ask in the middle of the song. Wait till the song's over and say, hey, that song that we just played, what was that chord? I couldn't get it. For some reason, it was slipping my mind. It's totally okay to ask questions after the fact. It's totally okay to ask questions before starting the song. There's nothing wrong with asking what key it is, what the basic chord progression is, if there's going to be a solo, who's singing it, any of the details you need. Ask before, or if something strikes you in the middle of the song, ask after. It's a great learning experience. But don't interrupt the song to ask a question. It busts up the flow of the song, and it could also throw off whomever's singing it. So make sure to ask questions, but do so at the right time. I think a lot of times we think, a jam is where just people randomly show up, they never talk, and they just play, and they somehow communicate. It's okay to ask questions. Just, again, do so at the right time. The fifth rule, and this one is so very important. In fact, this can be the make it or break it rule for you. Listen and observe. A lot of times, and I know this from personal experience, you get really caught up in your own, what's going on in your head. And you're so focused on, did I make a mistake? Am I doing this correctly? That you don't take a second to listen to what's happening. That's one of the joys of jamming with other people, is you get to experience this thing, this unique moment in time where everybody's playing together. And make sure to listen to that. Make sure to observe what's happening. Look around. And also, if you can't figure out a certain chord shape or something, watch other people's hands, especially if there are other guitar players in the group. It's a great way to get a quick tip on what chord might be happening. But so often, again, we're stuck in our own heads. We're either nervous or we're anxious about the jam or we're worried we don't know a song, that we don't just take time to listen. And it's one of the coolest things to sit back in a jam. Let's say you're struggling with the song, to just kind of just take a break and just look around and listen and be like, wow, this is pretty amazing. I'm a part of this. And again, use it as a learning opportunity. If you stop and just have to listen because you're not sure about the song, no worries. Listen, enjoy it, and ask the questions after the song. And the last, and probably, it's the last rule. I was going to say it's the most important one, but I really can't gauge importance on these. I think they're all very, very important. And I'll, of course, give you a review of all of them here in a second. The last rule that I have for you is to have fun. It's not a competition. You're not trying to make it at a jam. You're not trying to get a record deal. You're not trying to be perfect. You're not trying to impress anybody else. It's just about having fun and being in the moment with the other people at the jam. It's so important. Again, we get caught up in our own, we kind of put expectations on ourselves of how good we should play, how many songs we should know, what we should do, how loud we should be. Just have fun. It's not a competition. Have fun and be in the moment and use it, again, as a learning experience. You're not out to prove anything at a jam. You're just out to enjoy music with other people. It's one of the coolest things you could possibly do. And really is one of the unique things that guitar players, guitar geeks like you and I have the opportunity to do. Oftentimes, think of like any party that you might have at a friend's house that is a non-guitar geek. It's kind of, you just hang around the chips and dip and you slug a beer or a bourbon or a water or coffee, whatever the case may be, and you just kind of chat about the weather, how little Timmy or little Todd or little Joey are doing in school, and that's pretty much it. But with guitar geeks, you can go to that party, have the same conversation, catch up on life, and then you can actually have this added benefit of this enriching musical experience. So make sure to have fun. So just in review, the rules of the jam etiquette, the Jamiquette, as Noah and I were discussing earlier, are as follows. Number 1, tune your instrument. Make sure to be in tune before starting the song. And if you're not, turn away and quietly tune. Number 2, watch your dynamics, how loud or how softly you play. Number 3, make sure to take turns. Don't be a jam hog. Make sure to pass the turn, and if the turn comes to you and you just don't know a song, you can pass. It's okay. Number 4, ask questions, but do so at the right time, prior to the song starting, and of course after the song finishes, but never during the song. Number 5, listen and observe. You're taking part in a beautiful musical situation. Make sure to take a second, take a breath, and enjoy it. And last but certainly not least, number 6, have fun. That's why you're there. That's why we do this. That's why we buy new guitars. That's why we share our love for guitars. That's why we're guitar geeks. We want to have fun. Jams aren't a competition, and it's not a place that you're going to get a record deal. So just make sure to have fun. So that's it. That's my rules to the jam. And this was all spurred on because 2 weeks ago, we had such an amazing time at the 2nd annual TAC Jamboree. We talked about the jam rules at the Jamboree, but I wanted to share these with everybody because I think they're so important. And really, you should try and not let not knowing what to do at a jam prohibit you from going to a jam. That's why I wanted to share these rules with you. Hopefully it gives you just a little boost in confidence that you can now go to a jam and at least know what you're getting yourself into. And of course, know the rules. So with that being discussed, gentlemen, how's it going? Noah, Levi. Noah, you look serious.
Do I?
Yeah, just a little bit when you're reading.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You don't have to be sorry.
I'll try to look happier when I'm reading. No, I'm actually delving into my mind on things that I'm questioning my actions in my mind.
You're questioning your actions?
Yeah.
In jam, in life, or in a jam?
You could apply it to a jam as well.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway, yeah, people are ready to jam. Maggie's ready to jam. She's
Awesome.
Always ready to jam.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any questions flowing in from the people? Now is the time.
You know what's interesting is everybody's just having a good time.
Oh, good.
And everybody's saying hi to each other and
Fantastic.
getting things figured out. Yeah. No questions yet. So,
well, if there's
folks,
no
if you
questions,
have them, if anybody has questions about Jamiquette, you coined
Jamiquette.
that. Yeah, you coined that.
I thought that was a team effort.
Jamiquette. If you have any questions, fire away. We will ask Tony.
Please. Now's the time. So if you guys have any questions about any of the, maybe you've actually had a situation where you were at a jam and you ran into something that I didn't discuss. Fire away. Now's the time. You can ask questions about jamming. We'll probably hit those first, and then of course if you have any other questions, strings, playing, guitars, hockey. It's the off season. I know. Connor McDavid's just signed, I think, the highest contract in NHL history. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure, but it's like $100 million over 8 years or maybe 12 years. My facts aren't straight, but if you want to talk hockey, we can do that. If you want to talk beards, if you want to talk coffee, bourbon, whatever, I'm fair game. It's on.
Awesome.
Okay,
yeah, I'm reading. Yes.
I'm just going to slide in here.
Slide in,
I was
Levi.
downstairs playing pool, and I heard you guys doing a webinar or a workshop. So anyway, I just wanted to, so we're getting some questions about just what we're using for the workshop today.
Oh,
so
cool.
we are using YouTube instead of the other one. So for right now, just ask your questions right in the chat there, and then Noah's going to keep track, and I'll keep track. So
Awesome.
yeah. Do you want to do a Jamboree recap while we're gathering
Yeah,
questions?
I'll kind of give you the this will be the tech. I want to have like a news header right now, but we don't, of course. The TAC 2nd Annual Jamboree 2017 in review. That was my off the cuff header. So let me just say this. First of all, wow. Just to be brutally honest, okay, so last year was the first TAC Jamboree. It was amazing. It exceeded any expectation I had, and just became. It was something I immediately looked forward to the second year. So as we're approaching the second year, the Jamboree that just happened 2 weeks ago, sorry, I was having all this anxiety. because all of a sudden there was something to compare the second Jamboree to. And I was getting worried because I wanted to make sure that the second Jamboree was awesome. And again, for the second year in a row, it totally exceeded my expectations. And I say this in just all 100% honesty because I walked away from the Jamboree this last year thinking, holy cow, this was just, it was amazing to see. I think there was 37 total participants that came in essentially as more or less strangers. There were some friendships created, of course, in the TAC community prior to, and of course from last year at the Jamboree. But there's a lot of new members at the Jamboree this year, and to see the room in a period of 48 hours go from kind of that tentative first day of school vibe to people that felt like they were friends all along was completely amazing, extremely humbling, and I just feel like some really long-lasting, lifelong friendships were made, and some huge, huge walls were broken down. People were jamming in groups. The first night, the open mic, some people were getting up there for the first time and playing. David M., huge shout-out to you for getting up there for your first time and then coming back for a round two. And also a huge shout-out to Honey for getting up and doing a solo performance that was your first time, on a microphone and playing in front of people. So there were so many stories like that. It was so amazing. And then the second day, so we did workshops on the first day, ended up with open mic, which was so cool. And then the second day, we kicked off with a workshop that I'll turn into a course for the Academy, actually, because I thought it was so cool, and so did a lot of the folks at the Jamboree. I'll more on that in a little bit. But we were absolutely delighted by the presence of Tony Furtado. He did a post-lunch slide guitar workshop, which was so cool to see a whole room start with not a ton of confidence or knowledge about the slide guitar, and then literally in an hour and a half, he had everybody playing a blues song. Was so cool to hear, 30 plus guitars playing slide blues all together. It was really cool. And then after that, the top secret group projects were revealed, which was amazing. We announced the Golden Pick Awards, which is a highlight. I love the Golden Pick Awards. Those are kind of a Jamboree tradition at this point. And then in the evening of the last day, Tony Furtado delighted us with an amazing performance. Slide guitar, banjo, a cello banjo, fingerstyle. I mean, it was a tour de force of stringed instruments, and he was so generous with his time, and he's such an amazing performer. It was a delight to have him there. So the Jamboree really wrapped up with a bang. And then, of course, that doesn't include the hours spent by the campfire jamming. Just had such a good time jamming with David S., jamming with Neil and Keith, Honey. We also had Carol. Heidi was out there jamming. It was so fun. And just for the statistics of the weekend, there's one statistic that I need to share with everybody. Everybody kind of knows, or if you don't know, I really there's a specific bourbon that I like called Eagle Rare. And I like it because it tastes delicious, and it's not a crazy expensive bottle of bourbon. And it's kind of become a TAC Jamboree tradition that, we like to imbibe in some Eagle Rare during the Jamboree. And this weekend, in a 2-day span, the Bucks T4 Lodge went through 5 bottles of Eagle Rare, which is pretty substantial. So I just wanted to share that statistic with you guys. And I think total cumulative hours of sleep, average number of hours per sleep over the weekend was probably about 4.5. So I think those are the two statistics that I thought were very important. But again, I can't say enough amazing things about the Jamboree. One more thing in closing, for those of you who maybe were thinking about coming to the Jamboree but couldn't make it and thought, man, it'd be so cool to do a lesson with Tony Furtado, a slide lesson. I'd love for him to show me that. Again, I said Tony was extremely generous with his time. He came here on Thursday prior to the Jamboree, filmed an entire slide course for the Academy, and also did an interview and some performances as well. So those are happening soon. The slide course, I think Levi was in the process of editing it right prior to the Jamboree, and so you'll be able to actually take part in the same exact slide workshop that Tony did live at the Jamboree. So it's something I'm super excited to share with you guys. And of course, the interview was really, really fun. He shed a ton of light on some of his songwriting processes and things that he does. So I'm just pumped to share all this stuff with you guys. So much cool new stuff has been happening, and this is a cool new setup, and it's just all cool and new, and I'm excited.
It's all
there.
cool and new.
It's all happening.
And it'll only get better.
I agree.
It's already awesome. It'll only get better.
Awesomer. More awesomer. Until we're the most awesomest.
So we had some questions.
Okay.
Okay. So we're talking about jamming, right? Mm-hmm. Jamming together, jamming with new people. Stephen S. He says, kind of tailing off something you said, and he says, "What are some of the best songs to bring along?" So are there some? I'm going to take a leap here and think that he's asking, what are tunes that you could bring to any general jam that either most people will know or would be good ones to do?
I think that's a great question, because a lot of times what happens is like, cool, we're going to get together and jam, and then 5 different people sit down and everybody knows different songs, and it's kind of like, it's like the screeching halt or the scratched record kind of noise should happen. But if you come prepared, and this is one of the best things I can say, is kind of dip into the traditional songs. Think like "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" soundtrack. "I'll Fly Away," "Will the Circle Be Unbroken," "Don't This Road Look Rough and Rocky." Cripple Creek, not the band up on Cripple Creek, but the bluegrass traditional Cripple Creek. There's so many, and the reason I bring these up is even if people don't know them, these are 3-chord songs that follow a pretty simple format that even if somebody doesn't know them, you can get them going on the verse and the chorus right away. And a lot of times the verse and the chorus of these songs are the same chord progressions, just the lyrics change. And one of the greatest resources for these is Mel Bay put out a book, and it's called The Parking Lot Pickers Songbook. It's a spiral-bound book. I believe it's still out. It might not be spiral-bound anymore, but it's a Mel Bay publication, Parking Lot Pickers Songbook, Guitar Edition. It's got green writing. It's got pictures of people jamming on the cover, and it's like 200-plus songs that are really nice, pretty easy to follow 3-chord songs that you could play all day. And if you don't know the songs, I believe they still include the CD, or at least there's downloads now where you can check out what the songs sound like. It gives you like a verse and chorus. So things like that, I definitely see. Dip into the traditional catalog. You can never go wrong with a tune like Wagon Wheel, something that's pretty easy to pick up. Something that people know. Like I just was thinking about when we were playing at the campfire out in Big Sky. Like The Weight by the band, that was a fun one that people, even if you didn't know the chords, you could sing along because it was such a common tune. Kind of the classics. Even we did Brian M, one of our members, he had it was a tablet, and he just kept pulling up songs and chords, and we just kept giving it a shot. And one of the great things is that if you didn't know it, we either just kind of flubbed along until we fell into a spot where we knew it, or we just said, no, not this one. We're going to do another one. We did Sweet Home Alabama, which was hilarious because I think between Brian and I and who else was playing with us? Jeff S. Between the 3 of us, I think it's a 3-chord song, but I think we managed 4 different chord combinations just because it was late and there may or may not have been bourbon involved. Anyways, but dipping into the traditional catalog of songs is great, and there's, again, that resource it's Mel Bay's Parking Lot Pickers Songbook, Guitar Edition. I think it was published in, I want to say, like 2006, but it's a great reference. It's a great reference book. It's nice big writing, and it's got a whole bunch of stuff in there, and they're 3-chord songs, so they're pretty easy to pick up on. Great question. That's awesome.
Tony, does that book have tabs in it for picking?
It does. It has. What the cool thing about this book is that it has all the lyrics, all the chords, but it also has the basic melody tabbed out. There's 2 rows. There's standard notation, and it also has the basic melody tabbed out. So if you want to take a crack at a solo, it's a great book. It's an overall really fantastic reference.
All right. Looks like Mr. Bear 133 asks, how do you know when you're ready to jam if you're a newbie? Or conversely, how do you find a jam where you will fit in with your skill level?
That's a great question. Kind of two questions in there. I'll do a reverse order answer. How do you find a jam that's of your skill level? There's two different viewpoints on this, and I strongly believe that jams should be welcoming of anybody in any level. And that was one of the big stressors. One of the things I stressed the most over the Jamboree weekend was, regardless of your level, you can participate in a jam. Even if it's just doing kind of a percussive thing on your guitar, it's just nice to be there and around the music. That being the case, if you go to a jam and you feel like, I'm kind of a beginner, am I way in over my head? No, because any jam you go to, any jam that's worth attending, should be welcoming to people of all levels. And I really firmly believe that. And honestly, if you go to a jam and people give you the look like, oh, this person doesn't know what they're doing, that's probably not a jam you want to be a part of. Because jams should not be exclusive. They should be very inclusive. You should show up with a guitar and people should be like, awesome, come on in, here's the chords. Let me show you how it goes. Now, I'm painting a rosy picture here, and really, truly, that's often the case. I've only run into one or two jams that have been really it felt a little bit snooty and kind of like, oh, you don't know the songs we know, you can't be here. And if it feels like that, it's just not your place. And even if you find yourself in a situation like that, there's nothing wrong with being like, okay, cool, I'm just going to listen, and then maybe on the second song, I'll slowly slide out. But as far as finding a jam, one of the best places, and this is going to sound like I'm catering to a particular genre here, but I just, the frequency of jams at bluegrass festivals is awesome. And you're going to get people of all different levels, all different styles, all different instruments. And they're so welcoming. Even if you have a mild interest in bluegrass, going to a bluegrass festival and just kind of surveying the situation and seeing how the jams happen is really inspiring. So that's a great place to find people to jam with. You can't, Craigslist is another option if you're kind of in one of those areas where like, I don't know if there's music happening here. You can always post on Craigslist. Also, I'm trying to think of other, if you have a local music store, that's a great place to ask and just get some reference as well. But yeah, so that in terms of finding one for you, there's a couple different outlets: music stores, Craigslist, and of course bluegrass festivals. Great, that's really the top one I would recommend. Secondly, in terms of finding one of your level, you should be able to show up and it should be inclusive. And again, if it's not, those are people that you probably don't want to jam with anyway. But always, you can always preface asking like, hey, I'm kind of new to the whole jamming thing. I'd love to find a group of people that are really helpful with beginners, especially if you work at like your local music store. That's a great resource. And then I'm trying to think of other things. There's some wood shedding, some practice you can do prior to jamming. Any of the Wednesday improv sessions on Tony's Acoustic Challenge are a great way. There's plenty of backing tracks on YouTube, and there's also jam-along resources on YouTube as well. So those can kind of at least get you in the jamming mode and almost bridge the gap between just playing at home alone to actually going out in a jam. Those jam-along backing tracks and videos are a great stepping stone to actually get to a jam. That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked that. It's very perfect timing.
So let me throw in some things here.
Yeah.
So Ian S, small win here. Says, played my first gig at a festival. So awesome, good job, Ian.
Congratulations, Ian.
Also...
And if
yes,
the time to put in your small.
Oh
wins.
yeah,
yes.
Sorry.
I keep coming over here. This is so weird. I don't have my own microphone. That's for next time. It's gonna be so cool.
Yeah. So please, if you guys, small wins are welcome at any time during our live hangout. And Noah will take some time and read those aloud because I love celebrating small wins. You guys, it's amazing to celebrate small wins with you, whether it be changing your strings for the first time, playing your first gig like E&S, or tackling a song that you finally had the time to do, and you're like, holy cow, I learned it. Just type them in, and Noah will read them aloud. Sorry, Noah.
It's okay. Esteban wants to know how long it took you to grow your beard.
Oh, this is a great story. This is a fantastic story. In March of 2013, I was getting ready to play a gig. It was a house concert here in Bozeman with a great singer-songwriter who's out on the East Coast now. His name's Connor Garvey. You can look him up if you guys are curious on his tunes. He's a great writer. So yeah, I was playing this gig with Connor Garvey. I was sitting in on dobro for a couple of his songs. And I thought it was a house concert. I should really look presentable. And I had a beard at the time. And I went to just kind of trim it up. And I just kind of did one of those shink. And I just had this huge chunk taken out of my beard. And I couldn't just show up with a holy beard. So I figured, well, I'm just going to have to shave the whole thing and start over. So I show up to this house concert, like unrecognizable to Connor, whom I know, and also another great musician friend of mine, Tom Murphy. And I'd explain, of course. But it was at that moment I vowed that I wasn't going to be shaving again. So since March of 2013, the beard has been in development. Now it's gone through some phases. But yeah, I think we're at about, was that 4 years? 4 years. I'm kind of growing attached. Growing attached to it, if you know what I mean.
Well, here's to another 4.
Cheers. Here's to another 4.
William M. here has a Jamicket question.
Okay.
Pretty good one. And I think you started to touch on in a previous question about your skill level. Mm-hmm. But he just asks right out, should a rank beginner dare take part in a jam with more experienced players?
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to offer this parallel, and I'm going to also cite a specific YouTube video that sheds a lot of light on this. So the question, again, I'm just going to reiterate because it's important. Should a rank beginner even dare go into a jam that involves people of a higher level of playing? And the answer is yes, absolutely. And the quick and easy answer is lessons learned at a jam. First of all, I should rephrase. Jams are a learning experience. So for a beginner going to a jam, that experience is invaluable, and you're going to learn so many lessons so quick. And a lot of information is going to go flying by your head and just slam into the wall behind you. That's okay. Just know that as a beginner, you're going into a jam and you're just a sponge, and you're going to try and soak up as many lessons as possible. It's a great place to learn stuff quickly, and usually those things that you learn at a jam, they become concrete in your memory. Really, it's just a really solid way to learn things. You can retain it. But I want to draw a parallel here, and this is not mine. I want to give credit where credit is due. Victor Wooten did a wonderful, I think it's from like a TED Talk. He did a wonderful talk, and they turned it into this quick 6-minute video that is about the language of music. And he equates learning music with learning how to talk. And when we're a baby, you don't know how to talk right away. You're essentially a beginner, like a rank beginner. But you're surrounding yourself with people that are professionals at talking. So here you are as a baby, a rank beginner, you don't know how to talk, you don't even know, you just know how to make sounds, and you're surrounding yourself with professionals. And what ends up happening is as you start to learn how to talk, these professionals, i.e. adults, mostly your parents, they continue to push you along. They celebrate your successes, but they also very kindly correct you when you go along, kind of when you're not doing things right. But never is there judgment. It's like, oh, you never hear, oh, that stupid baby doesn't know how to talk. I'm not going to take the time to teach him. That doesn't happen, right? So if we draw that parallel to what it's like to be a beginner guitarist, going around, surrounding yourself with people that have jammed for a while, it should be the same thing. Those professionals or higher level players should welcome you in. They should correct you when you're kind of going in the wrong direction. But also they should be celebrating your successes and never passing any judgment. that, in terms of me, in terms of how I view jamming, that's the ideal situation, where you're surrounding yourself with players of a higher level because you want to learn, and they're there with you, fighting the good fight. So if you want to look up that YouTube video, just type in Victor Wooten, The Language of Music, TED Talk, and it's a video. It's totally worth the time, and please, if you found it beneficial, share it with other people, because I think it's one of the best parallels to draw in terms of learning music and how it should not be an exclusive thing, but rather an inclusive thing. So in short, yes, if you're a beginner, like a rank beginner, please go to a jam, because you're going to learn so much so quickly.
All right, Tony, I'm going to rattle off some amazing small wins here.
Sweet.
All right, so we got Mark M. He finally wrapped his head around 5th and 6th string rooted jazz shapes in the past 2 weeks.
Nice job.
JF posted his first performance on the stage at TAC.
Nice job.
Didi jammed Freebird with Tony P.
That was really fun.
Who would have thought? That's a huge win.
That's a mega win. That is a mega win.
Vic G, being happy and excited for the Jamboree attendees and not resenting his absence too much.
Vic, we missed you.
Caleb P, successfully set up a band with a few friends.
Nice.
Then he has a follow-up question to that that I'll come back to. Chuck W, small win, played his first complete song ever in front of friends this weekend.
Nice.
He's a chicken no more. Thanks, Noah and Tony.
Cheers, Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck W is the fire chief. We can call him the fire chief. Christopher N completed a full month of TAC without missing a day.
Nice.
And can now find and play the notes on the warm-ups, scales, etc., as Tony is explaining without having to pause every second.
That's great. Nice win.
And last one for now, Aaron M recorded a new song. TAC helped me figure out my strumming pattern, so I went for it.
Nice.
Definite fave.
I saw her comment on one of the lessons about 3/4 time. It was on the strumming jumpstart course. So great job. Really, really awesome job. I want to look in two directions at once. I want to look here and I want to look there.
I know. There's at least 4 places I can look right now.
Yeah.
I got the camera, the microphone, the screen, you, and if I want to glance over, I can look at Levi. But yeah, so many
options.
So many options.
So many options. It's all right.
Didi was asking, what's the containers you got going on your desk?
The containers. Well, we've got, this is a LaCroix, a coconut flavored sparkling water, courtesy of Noah. He keeps us pretty well stocked. And this is a coffee from Cafe M, which has fully entered my system at this point. I feel very wide awake.
Awesome. Okay, let me back up to...
Didn't Caleb have a question about
Exactly.
bands? Okay, yeah.
See, we're tracking.
We're
That's exactly where I was
we're
going.
in the zone right now. It's the coffee.
And the LaCroix. Caleb P. He successfully set up a band with his new friends. Any suggestions on how to pitch songs and how long to wait before writing our own?
Okay, awesome. So you've created a band, and that is a huge win. That's incredible. Just managing other people's schedules is a huge deal. But as far as managing, what type of songs should you pitch to the band? When should you start writing? I would put those in 2 different classifications. And it doesn't have to be this structured, but for the sake of explanation, I'll say this. When pitching songs to the band, come to a practice session with like maybe 3 songs, and then kind of propose those 3, and then pick 1 to work on. Because what can happen, and I've been in this situation where all of a sudden you're at band practice and there's like 7, 8, 10 songs getting tossed around, and pretty soon you leave the practice session. It could be 2 or 3 hours, and parts of and pieces of maybe 4 of those songs, but nothing to completion. So pick 3 songs that you want to pitch. Be like, hey guys, I'm thinking, one of these 3, and then just kind of be like, what do you think? Which one jives with you? And in that, then you can do a deep dive on one of those songs, or 2 if you have time. But try and just do 1. I think if you really try and make your practices, band rehearsals simple, they're far more effective than if you try and put an entire month's worth of work into 1 session. As far as writing your own material, I would treat that differently than a rehearsal, right? So rehearsal, you go to work on the songs that you're going to play at a gig, maybe a new song that you're trying to iron out some details in. But as far as writing goes, in my opinion, that's a whole different process. And if you try and combine those two, sometimes it can just, your brain just can only process so much. And for me, writing's always been just a different part of my brain. Rehearsing has been refining and trying to really dial in a song, whereas writing is just all about making mistakes and throwing any idea I have out there. So I would treat those as two different practice sessions, two different sessions, rehearsal / practice, and then a writing session. And that's how I would approach that. There's no correct order, but I think it's always good, get a nice quick win under your belt in terms of picking a song that is maybe easy for the band to pick up, so you guys can just get playing together and jiving. And then as that kind of gelling process keeps progressing, then you can kind of turn turn the ship towards the writing end of the spectrum. But again, there's no correct order, but just always approach a band rehearsals, band practices as kind of a less is more kind of a thing. Because I think trying to jam too much, you end up doing yourself a disservice and ultimately walking away more confused than when you started.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, Noah.
We got some more questions coming your way.
Okay.
And I think some people missed hearing about the little earthquake that happened that you were originally talking about while we were trying to get everything set up.
Yeah.
Right, but any announcements you got for him?
Other than the earthquake?
Other than the earthquake.
Let me check my list here. And I don't know if you guys heard this at the beginning. Maybe I should throw this out. This is the 36th Tony's Acoustic Challenge Live Hangout, which means, if I've done my math correctly, we do them once a month. We've been doing Hangouts for 3 years at this point, which I think is really rad. So I just wanted to throw that out. That's kind of a celebration / So announcements. Oh my. Well, I'm gonna give a guitar away, but I'll do that later. Let me address very quickly some course updates in the TAC Academy. So on July 17th, the Fretting Hand Toolbox course will be opening. So I want you guys to be aware of that. I want you to dive into that as soon as it starts, because there's going to be discussions on pull-offs, hammer-ons, slides, harmonics, both artificial and natural, and just some great technique tips that you can apply immediately if you're having problems with any of those techniques. It's a really cool course with dedicated exercises that you can even favorite. So I'm excited about that. Also, I've been working this week on developing two full-length courses for the Academy. An alternate tunings course, which is because of a workshop that we did at the TAC Jamboree that was just really cool and led to an awesome discussion. So I want to make that a course for the Academy. And also a bar chords course, which I think many of you will find enlightening, both in your perspective on bar chords, what you can do with them, and also how to execute them. So that's another course that's in development. Let's see, what else? I do have that one announcement that you guys are probably waiting for me to announce.
I'm not sure if I caught you. Did you mention the challenge concept?
No, I didn't.
Is that what?
That's what I'm thinking you guys want me to say.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was kind of waiting for.
Okay.
Yeah. With bated breath.
So, this is really cool because this is was it last week that we went to Ghost Town, the coffee place?
It was.
Was it just last week?
Yes,
okay.
It was just last week.
So just last week, we had a full, I'm talking a full week of filming. We did a ton of filming last week. And we kind of reached this saturation point where I was just speaking nonsense words to the camera. And I couldn't even form a sentence anymore. And we decided, you know what? It's 3 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to go get some coffee so we can ensure that we don't sleep in the evening. So we went down the street. New coffee roaster just opened, Ghost Town Coffee. And we sat there getting fully caffeinated in the middle of the day. And we just started talking, and we just started throwing out ideas. And we started talking about this idea of a 5-day challenge, which then led to a much deeper conversation on a 5-day challenge and how we would even do a 5-day challenge. And I'm excited to announce on August 9th, August 9th, it's on the calendar in the sidebar in your homepage. August 9th, we will be starting our first 5-day TAC member challenge. And the whole notion behind these challenges are kind of a quick 5-day shot of a skill that we're going to build or our strength that we're going to build that everybody can participate in at once. So the first one will be the 5-day Pinky Builder Challenge. So you're going to get 5 days of exercises dedicated to building strength and independence in your pinky finger. And the cool thing about this is that it's a 5-day challenge. It goes from a Wednesday to a Wednesday. And you're thinking to yourself, Tone, Wednesday to Wednesday is 7 days. I got you. I'm there. Let me explain. So it's a 5-day challenge. So 5 days in a row, you'll get a new exercise dedicated to a pinky. Your pinky, not a pinky. And then there's kind of a 2-day buffer, so you can really sit with the exercises. You can work through them as much as you want. And then on that 7th day, a week from when it started, we're going to do a live hangout specifically targeted on that 5-day challenge. Any questions you may have had going through it, any additional information you want. Maybe you're thinking, gosh, I want to suggest other things for 5-day challenges. We're going to do a live hangout specifically dedicated to that 5-day challenge. So I'm super pumped about this. And I just think this is a great way to get everybody going through something together, having a cool focused live hangout, and of course, building a certain skill in just that 5-day span. So it'll certainly be a challenge because I was just going through the exercises 2 days ago. Was it Wednesday? No, it was Monday. It was the first day of this week. And these are some intense pinky exercises that I know you're going to totally dig. So if you have any issues with getting your pinky working or doing what you want it to, if you want to build strength in your pinky, make sure to watch out for the 5-day Pinky Builder Challenge, and that's going to start on August 9th. And then, of course, we'll follow that up with a live hangout on August 16th, where I'll address any questions you may have had during the challenge. So pretty exciting stuff.
Those are some great announcements.
Yeah. Did I miss any crucial piece of information?
No, I think you nailed it.
Did I?
I think you did good.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. I just wanted to get a general consensus. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Got a few more small wins to throw in here.
Great.
TS says, jumped into open e-tuning so I could learn to play Little Martha from the
Awesome.
Allman Brothers. Jeff S., small win. Locked in the rhythm of today's lesson, ice dancing, in under 30 minutes.
Nice.
Usually takes him longer.
Great job, Jeff.
JF, small double win.
Ooh.
Got his 4-year-old a canjo. He loves it.
Cool.
He frets and picks, and he's not all over his guitar.
Nice.
Right?
A distraction, and he's playing music already. That's fantastic.
Charles H., 5 months TAC practice without a break.
Oh, killer. Great job.
And there's some small wins. And I'd like to throw in a question I saw. I think it was from Claudia. She asked, what's the etiquette with coming into jam in like a drop D tuning or dadgad tuning, and how does that all fit in with the jam?
That's a great question. So yeah, so if you go to a jam and say you want to do a song that you know in a different tuning, totally acceptable, but make sure to provide the backing chords for everybody else. Okay? Not the chords that are specific to the alternate tuning, but the actual chords that anybody could play if they wanted to play along. So for example, like a tune like Shady Grove, which is in the Tony's Acoustic Challenge Song Vault. If you learned that and you wanted to go to a jam and play that, you can play it in that tuning. But for everybody else that's going to be participating in rhythm support, make sure to provide the chords that they can play so that they can provide rhythm. So yeah, it's definitely not a jam faux pas. I wanted to say a fashion faux pas. But you can certainly bring an alternate tuning to a jam. That's not a problem at all. But make sure to communicate what you're doing to other people so they don't feel like they have to tune to match what you're doing, or just try and limit confusion. So just say, hey, a great example would be that Shady Grove tune. Hey guys, I'm going to do Shady Grove. I play this in a dadgad tuning. The chords are as follows, D, C, whatever the chords are. so people can follow along with you. And usually if people can't follow along, it's okay for, again, just that listen and observe kind of a thing where you just take a step back and watch what's going on and listen to what's happening. So totally okay. It's not you're not breaking any rules if you do an alternate tuning.
All right, Tony, so we're coming up right to the big giveaway. Can we do a speed round of questions?
Oh, I'm going to do my best, yeah.
I'm gonna hit you up, and you're just going to try to nail it.
You know, one quick thing.
Yes.
We've been doing Hangouts for 3 years at this point. I've essentially had 3 years of practice at speed rounds. I feel like they're getting longer. Like, my answers are longer as the years go by. So I'm really, this time, right now, I'm going to really try and be speedy.
Okay.
To make you feel better, I was just reflecting, even writing some notes on how it's been 3 years, and there's a bunch of people who got sort of the wrong email notification, sending them the wrong place, and I was making a note, figure out Hangouts by year 4.
Yeah, by year 4 we should have this totally dialed in.
Okay, ready?
Speed round, fire away.
All right. JDS, what is the cheapest, maybe $400 range acoustic fingerstyle guitar you would suggest?
Ooh, I would check out the Eastman. I think it's the 300 series, AC 320, 310. I don't know if that's totally accurate, but there's an Eastman series that's in that range that is actually very it's on the modern end of the spectrum. So you're going to find some really cool OM kind of cutaway, and they may even be, I know they're solid topped, but there might even be one that might push that price range, but it's all solid. So the Eastman, I think it's the 300 series, but you can check their website for specs and the different series that they offer.
Okay, boom. All right.
Thanks. That boom really helps me feel like I'm going fast.
And also that feel like you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
Big G, question. Okay. Are there any guitar strap materials to avoid for acoustic guitar, i.e. suede, leather, nylon, seatbelt, string, chain link? I added that last one.
Two things that I would avoid are any straps with metal buckles. If you like keeping your strap on the guitar, metal buckles can obviously cause dings and damage to the finish. So be careful of metal buckles and metal fixtures like that. And be careful of any artificial leathers that might have vinyl in them, silicone, anything like that. Will actually, if you have a nitrocellulose finish, it will eat through the finish. Planet Waves made a series of straps. This was probably some years ago. They were Beatles straps. And they were really cool because they put a warning on the strap because they didn't want to use leather in the straps, but it was like a plastic, some sort of rubber material and they put a warning on the strap saying, hey, this might eat through your finish. But rule of thumb, just stick to natural materials. Leather is great. And also just kind of those woven, any cloth strap should do fine and wouldn't harm finish at all.
Okay, ding. Next. Okay, FooJoy 1. I noticed your guitar cases are stored flat and stacked. Is that the best way to store your acoustic guitars versus vertically?
Great question. If you're using them for a prop, you can store them like that. But usually I'll have them vertical. Just to take the stress, the stress off the top of the guitar. The cases that I have they're all hard cases. There's no stress on the instruments at all. But for peace of mind, I like to store them vertically, just leaning against the wall.
Ding. Next.
Yeah.
Okay. You're doing pretty good. You're doing really well. All right. Bill P asks, do you need an electric acoustic to jam with others who do have electrics?
Not necessarily. I will say that it will happen. If you show up to a jam and it's kind of a blues jam with electric guitars, it will certainly help your situation if you're able to plug in your acoustic guitar just to match the level of the overall noise, especially if there's drums or electric bass or anything like that involved. Not completely necessary, but just know that if you don't have a pickup and you can't plug in and you're with other electric guitars and electric guitars are in the majority, it's going to be a real struggle to be heard. So just know going in that might be the case.
All right, Tony Guy R asks, what guitar would you recommend for intermediate level players?
Intermediate level players, I really like. I'm going to give you three There is, on the lower end of the price spectrum, Taylor's new Academy series is phenomenal. Sharon got one Jamboree weekend. TAC member Sharon got one. And also, I believe Brittany M., another TAC member, got one Jamboree weekend. And they're very comfortable, very well built, and they sound really, really fantastic. Working up the price spectrum, Taylor's 300 series, which is all solid wood, fantastic instruments for the price point. And then I'll throw in the Martin Performing Artist series, specifically the GPCPA 4. Either mahogany or rosewood, depending on the tonal flavor that you want. Those are fantastic as well. The latter two that I mentioned, Taylor's 300 series and Martin's Performing Artist series, both have pickup options. So if performing or playing open mic is something that you might be considering, that's certainly something to factor into your choice. But those three, I mean, it's a great starting point for an intermediate level guitar.
Right, nicely done.
Yeah,
and that was
thanks.
kind of a heady one.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark E. Just a couple weeks into TAC. Welcome, Mark.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard. He's always used a thumb pick in the past. Do you suggest switching to a flat pick?
No, I think, if you're comfy with the thumb pick and you feel like you can get that flat picking action with the thumb pick, by all means, floor it, green light, go for it. Certainly, it would be awesome to try a flat pick, but not a necessity. If the thumb pick is your bag and it feels comfortable because it's nice and solid, just keep doing what you're doing. And also, welcome, yeah.
Okay, Esteban asks, where does the Jamboree happen?
Where?
Yeah.
The Jamboree happens just south of Bozeman, about, 20 miles? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe
13 miles?
It's like 50
or 50.
it's like a 45-minute drive.
It's a 45-minute drive. It's a beautiful drive. You go south along the Gallatin River through this beautiful canyon. That's just wildlife and the whole. It's literally like Montana. I mean, because it is Montana. But what you picture Montana in your head is exactly what the drive is like. And you go south of Bozeman. It's about a 40-minute drive in Big Sky, which is in the winter. It's kind of a hotbed for skiing. It's a very popular ski hill. But we go to a place called Buck's T4 Lodge, which is located just south of Big Sky, and it's a 2-day Guitar Geek extravaganza, which by the way things are going each year is awesome. So yeah, it's a beautiful place. You can look it up online. I think it's just buckst4lodge.com. There's it's amazing. It's breathtaking views, and the campfire is perfect for what we do.
All right, can I throw one more at you?
Sure.
Okay, Ariel M asks, how do you keep your flat pick from scooting around and having to adjust it often?
Okay, this is a very common question, and I will say that there's a couple of things you can do. First, on the gadgetry side, there's a couple of different picks that offer kind of a grip. There's one made by Cool Picks. Actually, Cool Picks, rather, is the brand, and they have like a sandpaper kind of type feel that keep the pick from twisting and moving around in your hand. You can also get a product called Gorilla Snot. Not kidding. That's an additive that you can put on your fingers. That's kind of it's almost like an adhesive that keeps the pick from spinning. Violin rosin will do the same thing. You just take like a quarter or something and shave a little bit of the violin rosin, make a powder, and then put that on your picking fingers. That's also a great way to keep the pick from spinning. Last, you can take just a straight razor and take your pick and just cut, kind of score like almost like what looks like a hashtag in it. And just by doing that, it'll keep the pick from twisting. So those are kind of on the gadget end of the spectrum. On the technique end of the spectrum, I would encourage you to check out the Wogie workshop in the TAC Academy because I go through specifically how I hold a flat pick, and it's the thing that literally made the pick stop spinning for me. And it has a lot to do with how the pick is cradled in that first kind of knuckle and how the pick sits in there and offers a little bit of reinforcement. So make sure to check that out. It's something that I think will help you. But whether it's gadgets or how you modify how you hold the pick, there is a way, and I promise you it will stop spinning. But it's something that every flat picker battles with, and each player has their own way to beat it. But those are hopefully some options that you can try that will help you beat the curse of the spinning flat pick. Hi, guys.
Hey, sorry, we were just talking over here.
That's okay.
Maggie was saying she could hear us whispering back here.
Oh, she can?
Yeah.
Only she can. But
Only
nobody
she
else
can. Well, they probably could. You know, our little.
We're going to get earpieces for next month.
Yeah.
Next month's going to be so perfect.
We're going to keep getting new gear every single month. Oh, I wanted to make mention. I do have a little minor announcement. Well, this is a big announcement. So Jamboree attendees from the second annual TAC Jamboree, you will be receiving a specific badge to honor your attendance of the Jamboree, your trek, if you will, across the United States to Big Sky, Montana. Just keep your eyes peeled for that. It will be happening, I'll say, in the next week. I have to craft a badge and give you the proper number of points for making such a trek. So it'll be happening.
Cool. Feel like throwing some darts?
I would love to throw darts. I threw no darts yesterday.
No pressure. You got to prove to everybody that you've won every single time we've played darts.
I can show them the scorecards if you want.
Oh, because that's proof.
Oh.
Right. Yeah, next hangout's going to have to be a game.
Oh, gosh.
I'm kidding.
We'll have to censor that.
Okay, so how does it work?
Okay. Should I do the activity code for this hangout, or should I wait?
Wait.
Okay, I'm gonna wait.
Now that you've opened that.
Yeah. So here's the deal. I'm about to throw a dart, which seals the fate of one lucky member, who will then win a mahogany-topped GS Mini, which is back there on my guitar stand. And how can you be so lucky to be entered into this drawing? Well, all you have to do is complete the previous month's practice plan. Hey, Levi.
Hey, Tony.
Thanks, bud.
I'm gonna go back.
This is the exact guitar that I'll be giving away. This is a mahogany-topped GS Mini. This has actually got a really beautifully figured top. But to get entered into this raffle, all you have to do is complete the entire previous month's practice plan. That means spending 10 minutes a day on every day's exercise. You don't have to master it. You don't have to play it by memory. You just have to spend 10 focused minutes, then you can mark it complete. That means your picture will get put on that piece of paper on the dartboard. And then I'll proceed to throw a dart. And whichever picture this dart lands on will be the lucky winner of the GS Mini. So without further ado, I better bring 2 darts just in case I miss. There is one specific clause, though. If the dart happens to land on an individual who doesn't have a profile picture, I have to rethrow because I can't identify that person. So this is a call to make sure you get your profile picture added to your profile, because if you want to win a guitar, you have to have it. So here we go. Off I go to the line. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to line up. I always feel bad for the folks on the outside, so I'm going to aim for the outside now. And I just don't know how this is going to work. Oh, good God.
Whoa. Tony wins.
Oh, there we go. That one looks good.
Okay. We've got a direct hit, ladies and gentlemen.
We had a comment that you were throwing Independence Day dart there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have a hit, and I'll ask my trusty friends here to verify who it is.
You want to bring it over to Noah's camera?
I'll bring it over to Noah's camera. I do have it pulled up on my computer over there. If you like.
Do you want to pop in?
I'll pop in.
You want to pop in?
Am I in?
You're in. Yeah.
This is a much different view. Oh, that's that camera.
Right.
That one.
So where are we at?
So we're right here.
Ah, yeah. Oh, okay.
This one right here.
Who that might be.
Should I go? Do you guys want me to check, or do you want to check,
I'll
Levi?
go.
It should be just popped up right there.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, here's the.
Okay, well, while they're doing that, oh, he's coming down.
Yep. It's nice to bop around. Hey, everybody. I'm gonna go back to the other one now.
Okay, you sure you want to stay here? I don't even know who it's on.
What I see here is Keith V.
It sounds like Keith V.
Keith V.
Keith V is the winner of this month's GS Mini.
All right.
And I think there's a studio audience standing by somewhere. Hold on. Where's?
I think we're gonna have to be the audience.
Oh, okay. We're gonna
of the way I have things set up.
So I'll just
V.
yeah, Keith
Yeah.
V. Hey, woo! Keith V.
Brand new guitar for Keith.
Congratulations, Keith V. You just got yourself a brand new GS Mini with mahogany top. And I also want to just a special shout out to everybody that completed the practice plan this month. Summer is undeniably a difficult time to focus on practice. And the fact that so many people did finish the practice plan this month is awesome. So great job to everybody that maintained some focus during the summer month here, last month in June. And again, congratulations to Keith V. You got yourself a new guitar. We'll be reaching out and making sure we're shipping it to the right place. And you'll be able to travel with the GS Mini this summer. How about it?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds great to me.
All right.
Keith, can I borrow your guitar? I'm taking a trip tomorrow.
Activity code.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
See, I just want a special shout out to both Levi and Noah. Number one, they keep me on track. Number two, Levi is quite the technical wizard because.
See, I could make the camera come.
Because
You can see that. Yeah.
Moment.
because prior to this hangout, there was about an hour and a half of question marks. And somehow he just was steadfast and he just was cool and he got it all working. So kudos to Levi and Noah. Thank you guys. And of course, you guys are wondering, what's the activity code for today? Well, of course, for hanging out with us live here, you get points and a badge. So all you have to do, I'm going to give you an activity code, and when you go to the Tony's Acoustic Challenge, your homepage, click on Live. In the top right corner, you're going to see a spot to enter that activity code. Once you type it in, click Submit, you'll get a brand new badge, a handful of points, and a digital pat on the back for hanging out with us live. So the activity code today, all lowercase, no spaces, is Rosewood. ROSEWOOD. My favorite tone wood, and that happens to be the activity code. Rosewood is what it is. Go ahead and type that in on that live page, top right corner, hit submit, and you'll get yourself a fancy new yellow badge, and you'll just get an overall good feeling because today was an awesome day. You're here for the third year anniversary of Tony's Acoustic Challenge live hangouts. I find myself just looking into this space randomly.
Yeah, well,
I'm caught in between.
We may have to move us
Yeah.
more like in front of you. So
Yeah, I'm
behind
kind
you,
of.
so
I
every
mean,
time you
yeah,
have to, like, turn around.
but it's okay. This is rad. I mean, you guys look so official over there.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's the can lighting.
I think-
Very fancy.
I think so. I think so.
I'll get better lighting next time.
Is that?
And I'll get a microphone.
Is there any last minute questions? Any final questions? Or should I offer words of wisdom?
Do you have any?
Not really.
Oh.
Okay.
No, but
I
seriously.
highly recommend sleeping through an earthquake if you can. The three of us did it last night. It was great.
Awesome.
I've seen no proof that it actually happened.
I feel like you just cursed us.
We're gonna have to go our foundations are gonna be ruined. While
Yeah.
we rebuild houses.
Well, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. I just want to thank you for being here, sharing your time with us today. You guys definitely make these possible because without your questions and your awesome participation, these wouldn't be half of what they are. So thank you so much for sharing your time with us. Make sure to enter that activity code one more time. It is Rosewood. Hopefully the Jam Etiquette Pep Talk gave you a little bit more confidence in maybe going to your first jam or approaching jams with a whole new perspective. And I look forward to our next hangout. Again, keep your eyes peeled. August 9th, we're going to do our first 5-day Pinky Builder Challenge, which I'm super pumped about. And I think that's it. Continue to enjoy your day. Thank you again for being here. And from Levi, Noah, and myself, cheers. Have an awesome rest of the day and an awesome practicing month. Are we off yet?